I would like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land where I am today, humbly and proud, on Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung land, and pay my respect to elders past, present, and emerging. It is an honor to be with all of you in Melbourne, and it's an absolute privilege to hear from 2021 Australian of the Year. Thank you for your courage and for calling us to account, calling us to action, Grace. I am so pleased that we can gather and celebrate International Women's Day all together in support of the world's women and girls. And I thank each of you, wherever you're tuning in. Thank you, Melbourne, and thank you all across the country as well. This is a day where we do have to celebrate the progress that we have made. But it's also a time for us to reflect and to call for an end to gender inequality. And we've heard so many stories of devastation and heartbreak. We know that violence against women is one of the most pervasive human rights violations in the world today, and it is a manifestation of gender inequality. And if we want to end violence against women, we have to achieve gender equality. And that's what UN Women is all about. Every day, working in partnership with governments, with grassroots activists, with women leading the way to create a world where all of us are free and equal and can live free from violence and discrimination. That's what we're working towards. Now, one of the most important levers that we have at our fingertips to advance gender equality is to ensure that women have equal positions of power. That's in the halls of parliament, that's in businesses, that's in every facet of social, economic, and political life. And we've got a long way to go. So here in Australia, we know about 18% of private sector CEOs are women. If we look at parliaments globally, 1 in 4 parliamentarians are women. That number doubled in the last 25 years. It's still a far cry from 50-50. And if we look at our neighbors in the Pacific, there are only 6.4% of parliamentarians that are women. It's the lowest representation of women anywhere in the world. We've got our work cut out for us, but there's incredible, incredible work underway. And I'd like to journey just briefly on this tour. We've been on a bit of a tour of Australia. I invite you to join me to travel to the Pacific. Now, you heard from Minister Payne speaking about Markets for Change, and I have a couple of stories about that program. It is about partnership with Australia, with grassroots activists, with women driving change. And this is a relatively new program. It's about reducing the risk of physical and sexual violence, strengthening the economic role that women have in family and community, and providing pathways for women to lead, where women are majority in the workforce as market vendors. Now, the leadership bodies in market vendors are called market vendor associations. And before the program started a few years back, there were 6 such associations, 100% of which were led by men, despite the fact that 75 to 90% of market vendors are women. Today, there are 19 such leadership groups. 13 of them are led by a woman president. And that is through consultation, mobilization, organizing, and ensuring that women have their rightful seat around decision-making tables. And because of women leading the way at market vendor associations, the markets are transforming. There are now training and resource centers so that women can access bank accounts for the first time. They can learn more about increasing their agricultural output and sharpening their business skills. And importantly, there are now women's accommodation centers. Now, I had a chance to spend some time with some rural women in Fiji a couple of years ago. And the stories that they shared with me were quite stark. The bottom line is they have to travel vast distances in order to arrive at municipal marketplaces to earn an income to support themselves and their family. And before these accommodation centers were built, many rural women had little choice than to sleep under their market stalls with their goods vulnerable to theft and their bodies vulnerable to violence. Now, with women at the helm of vendor associations, they've listened to the needs and concerns and solutions of women. And as a result, today, no woman has to make a choice between earning an income and being safe. She can do both. It is her fundamental right, as it should be. And this is a result of women leading change. Representation matters. Women bring with them experiences. They shine a light on gender inequality and develop solutions that are not just better for women, they're better for everyone. And we know when you empower a woman, you empower a family, you empower whole communities, you empower nations. With women leading the way, we have more productive economies. We have more profitable businesses. We have a healthier, more peaceful planet. What's not to love? Now, fundamentally, I call on all of us to be part of this change. UN Women works in partnership, and that's where you come in. If we are to create a world where all of us can have the freedom to be leaders, to be learners, to earn a decent income as our sisters in Pacific nations, I invite you to be a part of this movement. And that's a call to act. Now, we've heard some important calls to action from Grace, and thank you for that. You will hear many more over the course of today, I promise you that. We need to stand out and speak up. We need to listen. And we need to be champions for equality in our everyday lives. And one of the ways you can do that is by making a donation. So we have friendly volunteers in all of our cities. If you're watching on the virtual hub, there's a purple ribbon. You can click on it at any time to make a donation. Every dollar matters, ladies and gentlemen. And it does take all of us. Now, I'd like to introduce a short video. And this video is a bit of a reminder of the importance of the collective, which is a bit of a theme that I'm hearing today. It is about us working hand in hand to co-create a vision for an equal world. But today, I stand before you with the knowledge that there isn't yet, and yet I want to underscore and highlight yet, a world that has, a country that has achieved gender equality. But the countdown is on, and it's on all of us to make change. Let's listen to the movement. I'd like to turn to our video now. Thank you for your support.
What defines a generation?
Climate justice! Right now!
Is it just about the year you were born? Or is there something more? We may have lived through different decades, different circumstances, different countries, but we all share in the global, everyday push for our rights, for justice, for a world that is equal. Perhaps what defines our generation isn't our age or our background, but the line in the sand that we have drawn. We take to the streets to speak out against discrimination, and we work tirelessly behind the scenes. We stand up for peace.
We are fed up with the war
and economic justice. We start with a statement and watch it become a movement. We have come a long way, but the fight isn't over, and our rights are still under assault. It is time to take action. Let us be the wake-up call the world needs.
The eyes of all future generations are upon you.
Be the first, the youngest, the best, and then make sure no one is left behind. When someone tries to silence you, raise up your voice.
Let us wage a global struggle.
Change everything, or change just one thing. As long as you do something, whether you're new to changing the world or have been in the fight for a long time.
Each knows exactly why we are here.
We are all together, united, for gender equality. And the future we create for women and girls is up to all of us.